There's a lot going on in the June 28 days. Megan 2.0 has come out, and I watch it in theaters, and I end up being surprised how much I enjoyed it. There's a lot of action with a bit horror elements, and it was pretty funny too, as people in my movie theater has laughed at some jokes. And we also have the jujitsu event, like a big fight between Fallon versus Hazel. I'm not sure how to pronounce these names, but yeah. And then we have Squid Game Season 3 that came out on the 28th. Okay, now that I have seen the whole entire show, how does the third season compare to the second and first season? Well, today we're about to find out. Oh, and before we start the video, I'm going to have you know there will be some spoilers. So if you haven't seen Season 3 or any of the season at all, then I would recommend watching this show before you continued watching this video. So yeah, you have been warned. This is your last chance. So here we go. Okay, how the story in Squid Games go is that people outside of the game are so desperate to pay off their debt or whatever was going on, so they met this Korean guy that challenged them into a game and invite them to a suicide game fest. Well, the story for Squid Game Season 2 is that the previous winner of Squid Games wants to track down the guy that invite the people to the game. That way, he can go back there to prevent people to stop playing, and the authority has to destroy the island to shut down the game once and for all. Well, Season 3 of Squid Games is just the second part of Season 2, and the story here is underwhelming now. Well, Season 2 just spent way too much time outside of the game, and you go back to the games again until Episode 3. Well, Season 1 has the superior plot, without a doubt, but how about the players that participate in the Squid Games? Well, they all have their unique backstory, and it was paced so well. Well, for Season 2, well, including 3, well, you don't get to know the players' backstory that much. They just have them tell you instead of showing the situation. So for that, I cared about the players more in Season 1, and the emotional core was much more stronger here in the first season. And plus, my biggest issue with the third season, when they decide to put a baby in the game when it's born, like, I am not kidding, when the baby is born, they just include the baby into the game, even though it does not have something to do with it. And I did not like that at all, because I knew in a fact that this show does not have the guts to kill off a baby. So of course the main character is going to sacrifice himself over the baby. Yeah, that totally wasted his whole character development. And for that, I wish that the baby was not born during the season. Okay, well, a part of me is glad that I didn't see the baby die, but at the same time, it just adds so many complicated things into the point that I start to lose interest. Well, complicated stuff may work on Season 2 a little bit, but not for Season 3. So the Squid Game season, with the superior story and players, is undoubtedly Season 1. Okay, now let's talk about the games. Well, of course, we have Red Light, Green Light, and then the Honeycomb, the Night Brawl, if you want to include that, Tug of War, the Marbles games, the Grass Stepping Stone, and Squid Games. Well, for Season 2, Rock, Paper, Scissors, and Russian Roulette, if you want to include that. And we have Red Light and Green Light again. The Team Games, I don't know what that really called. The Mango Game, the Night Brawl again, Hide and Seek, Jump Rope, and the Shake Game, whatever that's called. Okay, it seems like Season 2 and 3 has more games, and the new games are much harder, and it's thrilling, but I feel like the first season has the superior games. Just let me explain. The games from the first season are iconic, so when the first season of Squid Games came out, people even played Squid Games in real life. And they even used the same games from the show. Well, except for the reality TV show called Squid Games The Challenge, that completely changes everything about the games that is actually from the show. So yeah, I see the games more memorable in the first season. Well, as for the games from Season 2 and 3, it is kind of forgettable. Well, in fact, right after finishing watching these seasons, I have forgot that these games existed. And I even forgot the name of these games, as you can tell in the video. Okay, don't get me wrong, these new games are more challenging, and it will definitely dramatize you, but it is not memorable. So, in my opinion, the first Squid Game season has the superior games. Oh wow, I am not even surprised that we're already on the conclusion part, because it's literally all that we're going to talk about. The first season of Squid Games was something that made the Squid Game series special, while the second season just lacks and ended up leading into a unearned shock value, and season 3 was just unexpectedly disappointing at the end. But the only difference is that Season 2 just felt even more short than I thought. Well, although there's like a tease for the Squid Games happening in America, and I gotta say, and I mean it is pretty interesting how the American version would play out. Well, besides the point here, Season 2 and 3 was just a perfect example of okay. Well, it was better than the last season of Cobra Kai and the 4th season of Outer Banks. That doesn't really need to exist, really. Well, that was for sure. But the first season of Squid Games has came out back in 2021. And we waited for 2 years for Season 2, and we also waited for 7 months for Season 3, and well, I am about to say it, waiting for this long is not worth the wait. So Squid Game Season 3 gets a 5 out of 10 at best. And Squid Game Season 2, following closely, is a 6 out of 10. And the first season of Squid Games gets a 9 out of 10. Okay, well, to be clear, I still like the show, but the recent season could have been something more. Like, it could have been memorable through and through, with all seasons and up. I mean, I waited for 2 years and 7 months for a unnecessary, unearned shock value, mediocre ending of the seasons that does not even come close of being as good as the first season. Well, that was it for today's video, guys. What do you think of Season 3 and 2? Did you enjoy them, or you just see the problem with these seasons, just like I did? Just let me know in the comments down below, and like and subscribe, as I will appreciate it. My name is Isaiah Beaufort, and I will see you guys next time.